Hello and welcome to another wild camping adventure, and if you're new around here, welcome to my channel. I've seen that not even 50% of my viewers are from the UK, so I'd love to hear where you're all from. If you'd like to drop a comment down below, tell me where you're from, where you're watching from. Today I'm in Northwest Devon, and I have thrown this trip together a little bit at the last minute. It's a Thursday afternoon, so I'm trying to make the most of the quiet midweek weather, and I think I've got everything I need. I'm not 100% sure. Just as I started talking to you, I'm feeling a few raindrops, and I definitely don't have rain gear, so let's see how I get on. This time I've brought my outdoor Research Helium Bivy. This will be my second outing in the Bivvy, and that's 2 consecutive camps in the Bivvy as well, with my previous one being on the Welsh coast. You can click up here to see that camp. This trip also happens to mark my 30th wild camp, which is a mini milestone to celebrate. I've got heavy grey cloud that way, and if I spin around 180 degrees, I have blue sky and sun. Guess which way I'm heading? Off into the sun. Let's go. My walking is going to be quite mixed today. As you can see, I'm just on a small farm lane at the moment, but before too long I'll be arriving at Woolacombe beach, which is one of the best beaches in the UK. It's a lovely sandy beach, over 2 miles long, and even though I live under 2 hours away from it, I've never visited it, so I'm looking forward to finally getting my eyes on that beach. As usual, I weighed my pack just before I left the house, and today it came in at 11.9 kilograms with everything in it. I mentioned I've brought the Bivvy with me, and as well as that I've got my other usual kit, which I showed in my recent rucksack packing video, which you can see if you click up here. It includes 3.5 kilos of water and food, in fact a little bit more than that. And this time I've brought slightly different kit. So on my Wales Bivvy camp I used my Osprey Atmos bright green rain cover to cover my rucksack. Part of the reason for having a Bivvy is to be lightweight. Part of the reason is you can sleep in slightly more awkward places than you could with a tent. But another big part is that you can be that bit less conspicuous. You can blend into the environment a little bit better in a bivvy bag compared to a tent. Today I'm going to be camping out at Morte Point on the northwest Devon coast. And because it's a bit of a beauty spot, it's quite near Baggy Point, there's a chance that there are going to be people around until later on in the evening. So although I'll be leaving it until very late to get the bivvy set up, I just want to keep a really low profile. I want to blend in, and I want to leave early as well, just so there's very little chance of me being spotted. So this time I've brought the footprint from my Nature Hike Vic 1, which is a kind of grey colour, so it's not as dark as the bivvy itself, but I think it should blend in a bit better than the bright green rain cover. Today's walk is going to be around about the 7-mile mark, I think, and my plan is to go and check out the general area because I've never been here before. There is a little slightly detached plateau of land that juts off the side of the main coast. I'm really hoping that will be suitable for me to chuck my bivvy on, but I won't know until I get there because I've never seen this area. So I hope to get down to Morte Point itself at round about 7 o'clock tonight, I think. I'll scout around and see if I can spy a suitable place to set up camp, and then I will get my food going as early as possible, have a nice early dinner, and then hopefully set the bivvy up at around about 9 o'clock. And all being well, try and get to sleep not long after 10, and then I'll be up early doors, probably around about 5 AM. And the sea is just coming into view now, look at that. Let's go and see this beach. That's where we're going. My target times have kind of gone out of the window because I've just been enjoying these views. Look at that view out to sea. As you can see, I'm properly back on the southwest coast path now. I had a little bit of pavement walking to do through the town of Woolacombe. But Woolacombe looks really nice. I've never been here before, but I can see that this would be a nice spot for a weekend break. It's a really relaxed vibe. Everyone just hanging out on the grass, looking at the sea views, having barbecues, sitting in their camper vans and whatnot. As I say, it's nearly 8 PM now, so I could do with some food quite soon. Maybe I'll just set up my stove right out at Morte Point itself and have some food. I'll see how it looks when I get there. I am almost right at the very tip of Morte Point now. So although it doesn't look very bivvy bag friendly because of all the rock hard ground, I think this is as good a place as any to set up my stove and have some dinner. I did really want to explore a little bit further round to find a camp spot before I ate, but it's gone 8 PM now. So I will make use of the daylight while I have it here and then head on around afterwards and find a camp spot. Tonight I'm on the Wayfarer chicken tikka and I've got my very favourite, the chocolate pudding. Together these are going to give me about 700 calories, which probably isn't really enough, but I've got a nice big breakfast for the morning and the walk back to the car is not going to be very long, so hopefully I'll have enough here. Time to get it warmed up. That's the food on the go, and tonight we're not messing about after that disaster in Wales. Tiny Rebel Club Tropica for tonight, thanks to my ever thoughtful girlfriend for sticking this in the fridge and making sure I don't forget it on this camp. Thank you very much. Here we go with the chicken tikka and rice. This is always good. And for anyone who hasn't used these meals before, if you're going to cook them in a pot like me, which is quite narrow, make sure you just squeeze the food down to the bottom of the pouch, fold it down, fold it up, and then it'll fit in your pot. And it all fits in like that. Time for the almighty Wayfarer's chocolate pudding. It's a gorgeous evening here. There are still some people moving around. I was worried there might be a bit of a mass exodus for people to come out and catch sunset from Morte Point, and I think that might be what's happening. So I'm really glad I decided to eat my food over here before setting up camp. There's still some water traffic as well, with boats going backwards and forwards, so I'll be happy to wait another, maybe even more than half an hour before I get set up with the bivvy. So for now I'll just enjoy my pudding and enjoy that view and the peace and quiet. I've just made a bit of a rookie error. I have a very small little notepad sheet of paper that's a very basic list for me to pack every time I go camping because it's really easy to forget stuff. One of those things is my rubbish bag, which I always bring, but this time I've forgotten it because I was just filming the video where I showed you everything I pack, so taking things in and out of the bag, I left it out, so I'm having to improvise and I'm having to use my water carrying bag, so that's got my crushed beer can and my 2 food pouches in there. I don't really want to put rubbish in my water carrying bag, but the alternative is I could just leave it here, which I am absolutely not going to do, or I could try and put it in one of my rucksack pockets, but I don't want bits of beer and chicken tikka leaking out, so it'll all just stay tucked up in there for now, and I can wash that when I get home, no problem. The sun is not far away from hitting the sea now. It must be about a quarter of an hour away, so I'm going to pack all my bits and pieces back up, head on down the coast and try and find a spot to put my bivvy bag now. Okay, I have now found a spot. The place I wanted to be is completely inaccessible. There's just too much undergrowth. It's all this slightly separated section of land here. Got a fair few scratches and stings off nettles trying to get down there. It was just inaccessible really. Trousers would have helped, but there was also quite sketchy ground all hidden by the bracken, so it'd be quite easy to take a tumble there, I think. So I've come a little bit further. I did have a crazy idea about trying to climb out onto this patch of land just here. Can't quite tell from here, but that would have required a really dodgy scrambling climb. So what I'm going to do is settle for this spot just here where my bag is. You can see it's only about 10 meters off the path, which isn't ideal, but it's kind of concealed by these ferns. And my nice little grey bivvy bag out here is not going to stick out too much. So where my rucksack is where I'm going to put the bivvy. It's really nice and level here, unlike the spot I found in Wales. I was very keen not to have another sloping pitch like last time, because that's not so great in a bivvy bag. But I have a beach immediately below me off this cliff. Really clear water down there, and then just a couple of meters over this side there's a drop down to another little beach as well. And I would say that is a pretty good find for tonight's pitch. The sun has gone down now, but it's left a really nice pale pink light behind it. So it's 9:25 now. I reckon that's late enough to get the bivvy set up, and I'll get myself stowed away inside it. Let's get it done. Good morning from the North Devon coast. It's about 5:30 AM. I can just see the sunlight starting to touch the tops of the little hills around me. The birds are singing, and it doesn't look like anyone's awake apart from me. I haven't had a great deal of sleep. I think about 3.5 or 4 hours maybe. I woke up at about 2:30 in the morning and the night sky was just perfect. There was quite a lot of cloud when I started to go to sleep, but as you've hopefully seen from the time lapse in the night, the sky cleared right up and the stars were fantastic. Just like last time, I had the Milky Way straight over my head, and I counted over 10 shooting stars in the night. I was much more comfortable this time than the last time I camped in the bivvy, mainly because I'm on a nice flat piece of ground this time. This Thermarest Nearwear X-Therm is so comfortable. No pillow in the night, I just slept straight on the mat. I had my hat underneath my head sometimes, but it's just unbelievably comfortable in here. There was a little bit of condensation to speak of in the night, but really not much. There are water droplets sitting on top of the ground sheet I've used to cover over my rucksack in the night, so there's just a lot of moisture in the air really, so I can't really blame the bivvy for that. It's not dripping wet in here by any means. It actually feels fully dry now. It was more in the night I could feel a bit of condensation in here. I like this setup actually with the ground sheet or the footprint that I've used to cover my rucksack. This grey colour is a lot more inconspicuous than the bright green. And as you can hopefully see from the slightly more distant shots, the bivvy really blends in quite well on this little ledge I've found. I'd like to hang around here for a while longer, but I think really I need to get myself packed up, and I'm just going to push on down the coast about a mile or so to have my breakfast, where I can sit in a slightly more tucked away position, because I'm only about 10 or 15 metres away from the southwest coast path here, which isn't really where I want to be. So really I'd like to move away from where there might be any foot traffic passing. It's Friday morning, so people might be out for a walk just to get their weekend kicked off. And of course it's school holidays at the moment, so there might be more people around than usual. It's just gone 6:30 now. Everything's all packed away. This is where I was here, so I've been careful to leave no trace, but it's so easy to leave no trace at all when all you've done is slept in a little glorified grey carrier bag overnight. I'm enjoying the cloud patterns this morning. It's a real kipper sky. So what I'm going to do is walk down the coast in that direction and go and eat my massive tub of porridge. I found a perfect little picnic bench just here to have my breakfast, and it also gives a really good view back over to where I camped last night, which was just in here, and over here in the distance you might be able to make out a lighthouse. It was quite surreal. Once I got into bed last night, I thought something flew overhead, but I looked and I couldn't see it again, but it turned out it was the beam from the lighthouse sweeping across the top of these cliff faces up here. So it was just 3 flashes every few seconds. It wasn't enough to wake me or disturb me in the night or anything. It was just really nice to be able to look over and see the landscape illuminated like that. So I'll just sit on this perfect little bench and have my great big bowl of porridge, which I've really been looking forward to. I think it's only about 3 miles back to the car from here. I'm going to take a more direct route this morning, hit the road and get home before all that crazy Friday traffic starts, I think. Look at the sky though. It's turning into a really nice day. It should be over 20 degrees, I think. So I'll say goodbye to you now before I have my breakfast and walk back to the car. Thank you for coming along on this video. Please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to showing you some more adventures in the future. See you on the next one.